Welcome to Daybreak with Ted Tibbett and Michael Paul. If you have a comment, you can call us now at 261-0898 or pound 981 on any ceasefire device. Our email is newsradiomornings@gmail.com.
Pretty paper, pretty ribbons of blue.
Beautiful song there from Roy Orbison. It's 16 after 7, and it is a Thursday. It's not Friday, but we're lucky. Gene Valentino is with us this morning.
Hey, good morning, Gene.
And a pleasant good morning. No, you got it wrong. I'm the lucky guy having the chance to be with you and your Pine Belt team.
Okay, well, we appreciate that because, well, tomorrow we're going to be off, and I think you've got some plans tomorrow, too. You're doing a little traveling. Be careful traveling, by the way, because there's going to be a lot going on out here. Holiday travel headaches are already starting to happen.
Yeah, I'm enjoying whatever warmth there is here now at 50 degrees, but we're going up towards Washington, D.C. to see family, and boy, I got to tell you, they're talking near 5 degrees. I got to get this winter thing out of our system because I got a little surprise from my wife and a post-Christmas gift. She's going to feel much warmer once we get through this winter stuff.
Oh, good. That's always exciting.
But don't tell her.
Look, we're not going to say anything. Mom's the word. So I'd like to start out, Gene, today, if you don't mind, because this is pretty much happening without too many people knowing about it, because everybody's busy this week. It's something that needs to be brought to light. It's this new $1.7 trillion omnibus bill. And that, frankly, there's some Republicans and conservatives that have called this an assault on the American people. Now, this is a bill that has $3 million for bee-friendly highways, $65 million for restoring the salmon population. I love salmon, but I mean, 65 million. I mean, give me a break. 286 million in Title X funding, Title 10, which is for Planned Parenthood. 7.5 million to understand the. I'm going to try to read this. Domestic radicalization phenomenon. On top of that, the federal building will be dedicated to Speaker Pelosi, along with a $3.6 million trail named after former First Lady Michelle Obama. And a lot of unrelated items in there as well. I mean, money for the lobster industry. I mean, how makeup is regulated in the United States. It is unbelievable what is in this bill. I mean, when we start to see the things that are in, they're trying to get it pushed through by tomorrow.
This approach, this process has been polluted, has been abused. I would like to write a book someday entitled The Art of Bad Behavior. You know, Michael, our preamble to this Constitution and the Constitution and the amendments thereto were designed to create a process based on principle. And you just described an abuse of the principles of this nation. And you're talking specifically right now about the budget process. And I had proposed in my 11 amendments that I proposed to the Constitution of the United States. Amendment number 8 was the United States federal budget. It is a process that has been abused. This 11th hour process where you're printing 2,000 or 3,000 pages on a budget, and I don't care how fast you can read, you're not getting through the fine details of that within 48, 72 hours before a vote. You're just not going to do it. You're relegated to having your team break up the bill into pieces to try to make heads or tails of it. And you just described one of the bad behavior issues of this perverse United States Congress that needs fixing. And this is my year-end summary for us before we sail off with gratitude into having been friends and having shared with each other over the year. There's so much good to talk about. But since you brought this up, I ask everybody as a Christmas gift to me, or maybe it's my Christmas gift to you. Go to www.genevalentino.com and look at Gene's second Bill of Rights and look at Amendment number 8. And I think you can get to us through WMXI's website as well, where we post all these 15-minute shows weekly. And there you'll find my proposal to the fix to the United States budget, Michael, which is addressing exactly what you said. 3 months prior to the next fiscal year of the United States, a balanced financial budget will be conclusively established and voted upon by a majority of both the House of Representatives and the Senate. This means that there must be an accurate measure of all income and all expenditures associated with the federal budget, with the allowance of time necessary for a normal, reasonable human being to be able to look at the budget line items and sub-items that often get buried away. Not interested in studying how much money you allocated to buy pencils for your office, but I am interested in wondering why you're naming a building after Nancy Pelosi and how much money was associated with that. I'm interested in knowing how much money you gave to 2 defense contractors that goes into the billions of dollars that may end up back in Mr. Biden's pocketbook, and so forth. It's how many bridges you're going to have built named after yourself, and all of the abuses that have been existing with the existing system that has been taken advantage of. But boy, I don't know. Even my wife and I, and our budget isn't as bad as the United States government. I don't think. But we give ourselves a little under slack and leeway every month to give each other the time to look through the bills before we pay them. And I think that would be a normal process for this government. It's not, though, because people have abused the process. It's the art of bad behavior that we can fix through these amendments. Please give me your input, Michael. Check out all 11 amendments to my second Bill of Rights. And boy, do I welcome constructive commentary and input, because I would like to revise them and send them on to my senators and our congressmen.
Well, first of all, I would like to say this. Once I had a guy who sent me an email and he said, you point out a lot of problems that we have in this government, in what's going on with our politics from the local level all the way up to the federal level. But I'd like for you to point out, or at least give us some options as to how we can fix that. And so by bringing you on board, Gene, you have answered that question. You have shown that you have answers to all of these problems that we see. But I'm not sure, Gene, that there are people honest brokers in Washington that would look at that and say, we probably need to do that. I don't think they will, because they like the system with some slack in it so that they can do the things that they want to do for their friends and for their family and for, and in the case of Joe Biden, well, that's even more scary, because it's like sending money through defense budgets out of the government to another government in a foreign country, and then money trickles back to those people from different ways. I mean, it's just terrible. And it's illegal, but it's hard to prove because that money gets washed. And so we just don't know where it's coming from, but we know that these people are taking advantage of that. And so, these are things that we need to do with our government to make it a better government, a better functioning government.
Absolutely,
so,
Michael.
Thank you for those things, because these are ideas, and somebody has to come up with ideas so that they can begin the process of trying to fix the problems that are associated with our government.
Now, you brought up another point, which is just as good. I can come up with the idea, but if you sweep it under the rug and ignore it and choose to live in some false euphoria, I can't control your bad behavior in not addressing it. Said differently, over 200 years ago, when we separated from the hostile British rule, and became a nation of freedom and liberty here in the United States, things had to get worse before they got better, didn't they? I mean, people died defending your rights and my rights for what we have today. And I fear only one thing. I fear that things are going to have to get a little bit worse before they get better. You know, in the Alcoholics Anonymous program, sometimes they say the alcoholic has to drop deeper or fall deeper or get worse before he gets better. He hasn't hit his bottom yet. And I fear that that's what we have here. People are going to have to feel more direct pain. Oh, it's beginning to happen. These migrants, for example, are moving into the cities and towns, the sanctuary cities and towns and other areas around the nation. And you can see the nation's varying levels of tolerance for this incursion of migrants coming into their pristine little communities. So some of them are accepting it and others are not. And then others are asking, like the mayor of New York City, asking for $2 million from the federal government to handle the migrants. Oh, well, what do you think poor Texas has been going through? That has been totally ignored. And all of these different... Say again?
They won't give Texas a nickel. Exactly.
In fact, Governor Abbott had to mobilize his own National Guard for fear of a buildup invasion. I'll call it an invasion that's about to occur. 10 to 20,000 illegal immigrants crossing the line per day. You know, it's so easy. I've learned so much this year on so many of these issues. The $1.7 trillion that you mentioned hardly addresses the border security issue. Are we anti-humanitarian? Are we? Of course not. We have humanitarian concerns and compassion in our blood, but we're arguing about the process which has been abused, and people are crossing over and coming into this nation illegally, and now overshadowing the illegal invasion is the tons of fentanyl coming in with these illegal immigrants that have the potential of killing every American in this nation. You've got to believe this is treasonous behavior and conspiratorial. If you use the word treason, use the word death penalty in the same sentence, because Benedict Arnold and other treasonous behavior in this nation was hung. I don't suggest we hang anybody right now, but I do think there's been treasonous behavior that has put this nation at risk, and federal felony crimes that are committed that are of a felony standard need to have a serious consequence for those wrongdoings that are occurring, that are potentially impacting our nation.
Yeah, but okay, so we got less than a minute left. But when you look at our Justice Department, they're in on the gig, right? They're the ones that are protecting some of these people that are creating treasons from this country. I mean,
well, there you go. It takes it to a new level, doesn't it? I want to work within the process, but if you just told me the process has been compromised, don't be surprised if America rises up, if this Congress next year in 2023 doesn't provide formidable solutions to the total abuse of this system.
Yeah, total abuse. All right. Merry Christmas to you and Maureen Valentino. I appreciate you guys, and y'all have become very good friends of ours. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Be safe in your travels, my friend, and we will talk to you maybe next Thursday.
Yeah, sounds good. Wish you the best as well. Ted, you as well. And to the listening audience, Merry Christmas, everybody.
And a very pleasant good morning and Merry Christmas again. 7:30, it's the bottom of the hour. We're back with the weather. And then, of course, Daryl Sanford. Good morning.